I thought that was a good line.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
That was I love that line, so I wanted to use it. And I'd already built like most of the animation for the intro sequence.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hi, I'm Marie Claire Gould, and this is What the Fiction, where we are covering the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And with me is
Some weird facial haired guy with long hair now. It's me.
yeah.
Kyle.
You've been watching his hair grow as we've been doing these streams like over WandaVision.
Yeah,
and
it's
everything.
getting ridiculous.
And so, hi, everybody. We're very, very thankful for everyone that comes out and joins us for these live streams and discussions. We know that this show has taken more of a controversial bent just because of so much of, I don't know, the Americana-isms of the show.
Yeah.
And so we end up kind of getting into some heady topics, and it's just, honestly, to me, it's stuff that needs to be discussed because it's stuff that I see on a regular basis and talk about with, people in Canada and all over the world. And then like when I bring it up with some Americans, they're like, wait a second, what? Like it's almost like they don't even see it.
This is a
right?
tough topic for them.
It is, yeah.
It's a tough time to be an American.
It is. I mean, it's hard. Yeah. So us from the America's hat perspective, i.e. Canada.
Yep.
We empathize and hope you guys figure everything out.
I like to call us America's toque.
Oh, okay. A toque being like a beanie in the States
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
In construction season, I like to call us America's hard hat.
Okay. Yes. So let's get started with our drink, our bro drink, I guess, because that's
It's beverage time. Speaking of heady topics, today it's time for a crown float. This is kind of an English thing, I guess. It is
never had one.
a can or half a pint of Strongbow cider, and then you pour over top a half a can of Guinness or half a pint of Guinness. So it ends up looking like this, where you can kind of see through the bottom. Now this one in this end is closer to you now than this one. This one kind of muddled a bit more. It's still very definitively
It's going to mix more when you drink it, right?
This one though, you can literally see
you can
that
see
it is
through
still
it.
got that
What?
nice bubbly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Guinness just floats on top of it, and there we are.
I get the pretty one? Thank you.
I mean, sure, why not? You are the pretty one.
Aw.
So here we are. Cheers and chin chin to you.
Chin
Let's dig into
chin.
episode 3, which I like to think is actually 2 different stories being told, sometimes a little bit more muddled than others.
Excellent metaphor. All right, let's try this.
Mmm.
What is going on with this? This is wacky.
Is it like Guinnessy at the top, or
Yeah,
is it...
no, it tastes. I can taste the Strongbow, though.
I can too, yeah.
Like the cider, I can taste it inside. What is with like super mixing of drinks? Like what is
I
with
don't know.
that? Yeah.
Mine is very Strongbow-y throughout. I think that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
I like Strongbow. I don't like Guinness.
That's true. Yeah, you don't.
But how is your Guinness? Is it much more Guinnessy than Strongbow at the top?
I only taste Strongbow.
Oh, interesting. Well, chin chin. Let's pound this back.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. It tastes like Guinness and Strongbow,
It tastes
which is
like-
not so bad.
I mean, it tastes great. Like
It's
actually,
like
I find
apples.
well, I find that like Strongbow sometimes is like extremely dry.
That's true.
And I really like Guinness, so it's kind of it tastes creamy. Yeah, I don't know. I like
All
it.
right. Well, let's drink this up and dig
here's to you.
in. Yep.
Here's to you. We're not supported by Guinness or Strongbow, obviously. But
Obviously. But Tiger Beers reached out to us and we've said no.
no, all right. Let's dig into overall feelings about this episode. This being the first part of the second act, I guess, is like because they kept on referring it to a 3-act story. So this is the first part of the second act.
The first part of the second act.
Yeah. What do you think?
Okay. Well, yeah, because it's a 3-part story.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, is this a 3-act story?
I have no idea.
this doesn't feel like a 3-act story. We're now just getting the introduction of another player. Basically, we get introduced to 2 characters this episode. So we're still making introductions.
It's a little weird, isn't it? Like it there's a lot going on, and then they keep on adding like layers to this cake. They're like, you thought this was a 6-layer cake. Actually, it's an 8-layer cake. Haha.
No, it's still a 6-layer cake. We're just going to frost everything in between each layer. Don't, hold on, folks, because we still got to put a double coating of frosting on the top. Oh, and we want fondant too, don't we? Like, it just seems like there's so much going on.
There's so much. I don't know how they're going to
the same thing started to happen with WandaVision. There started to be too many characters for the amount of runtime that they had.
I mean, and then they consolidated characters by saying like in WandaVision, they consolidated characters saying like Ralph was actually part of other people's plans, and other people were working with other people. I don't know. Yeah. So many factions to keep track of. So, I made a slide later on.
We're still on overall thoughts. I really liked it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I really liked it because they're still sticking to that same formula. This is not an Easter egg heavy driven. Like, there are so many scenes of 3 men walking.
There's a lot of... Yeah.
Like, literally, like 10% of the runtime, almost 5 minutes, is them walking. Yeah. Like, here we are. We're going to walk halfway across this bridge, and then we're going to get into a car.
Walking to cool music, walking into
into a
setting
club,
music,
walking into a setting,
walking around
down
the club,
some stairs,
looking at things, bopping along to the music, like...
There's a
walking
lot of,
across the bridge. Yep. This was the walking episode, yeah.
A lot of 3 men walking in different like 3 men abreast, 3 men in diagonal formation. Like, there were so many. And then even then, we got other men walking too, because both New Cap and Battlestar.
Oh yeah, they were walking down the hallway.
Did a whole bunch of walking too. So there's lots of walking this episode. But again, I really liked it because it still adheres to my always mandated show, don't tell.
Yes, that is true.
They are not attentive to that.
They are not telling us anything. They're just like laying out the story as it is. Yeah, just a lot of Yeah,
they look good walking.
There was some really interesting like symbolism used in this episode. There was some really interesting, not Easter eggs, because they're not Easter eggs. They're just kind of like things that they put into the show that I thought was super interesting. Hey, it's your card
they were
of
still in my
notes.
Pocket. I'm sorry.
That it's okay. Not quite Easter eggs, but like certainly things that I noticed that they did either from like a prop perspective or from a focus perspective that you're like if you go and dig into those things, they give you like way more information than any of the Marvel Easter eggs.
Yeah, that's true.
In the show, which is like so fascinating. Like Malcolm Spellman, doing his writing. Like, I'm wondering how much that is of the production versus the writing.
Yeah. Music is definitely influencing this show much more heavily. Like with WandaVision, they created new music, and of course there was like "Help Me, Wanda." Yeah. So they had some of that, but there is every single walking montage seems to have a new song for them to walk to. Yeah. Even our weird Jesse Eisenberg Dr. Nagel, he even has some interesting music playing in the background while he's working. So that was something else.
There's a lot of musical influences,
and I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was really cool. So let's get into Power Broker, not the Power Broker,
just Power Broker.
Just Power Broker.
Yeah, it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it's just Power Broker.
Yeah. So this one I want the question, and we're gonna try to answer it throughout this. At least speculate, right? Because it's very obvious they're talking about Power Broker, but they never actually directly talk about Power Broker, the Power Broker. In this episode, they never say like who the Power Broker is. They refer to the Power Broker by reputation alone, and we see Power Broker throughout the thing. But I mean, the Power Broker is there, obviously. Yeah, that has to be. I mean, the first episode was New World Order. We saw how everything was shaped up. We saw the new Star Spangled Man in the second episode, and now we see Power Broker.
Well, what does the Power Broker?
Or we don't.
People talk about Power Broker all the time.
Yeah. They're ever present, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So let's move on. I mean, Helmut Zemo only knows Power Broker by reputation.
By reputation.
So Helmut Zemo talks about Power Broker being a him regularly throughout.
Yeah.
So we get that. But when asked if Zemo knows the Power Broker, he makes very clear, I don't actually know who this person is.
Yeah, exactly. And we did talk about the Power Broker from the comics last episode, just to kind of get a sense for what they are. But they're doing some interesting things. So I could see them flipping this on its head and making it a new storyline. But we first start out with a commercial, which...
You know what's better in these days and age is when you have TV shows that don't have commercial breaks anymore, because that's not a thing that needs to happen in our modern streaming age, is... give us a beat, give us a break by inserting commercials that bear relevancy to the story at hand. I mean, this is brilliant.
Yeah, we loved it with WandaVision, and then they used it in this, which was so interesting because it's like we really haven't heard from the Global Repatriation Council themselves. Like, we really haven't heard from them, and this is their like PR like branding of what they are doing. And they definitely are putting a focus on the people, and they're speaking directly to the people who went away with the blip. They're not talking to the people who stayed. And that's something that they've mentioned, like Carly has mentioned in her conversations. Like, they don't care about us who stayed. Right?
Would they, the first thing in the 3-word like through line or motto of, or mission statement of GRC, the first word is reset.
Reset.
That is the first word. Let's reset back to how it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That is incredibly offensive for the half that remained behind.
Yeah.
So I immediately, and then they further hit you with that. If you weren't paying too close attention, you focused on the third one, which was rebuild, which sounds like a good thing, right? Let's rebuild the things that have been lost. That is a truism. Okay, they say getting things back to the way they were before. Why? Well, wow.
Yeah, it really does seem... it does seem weird. Like,
yes,
you know, it seems really weird.
Super weird.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be.
I know.
Right? We're not we're supposed to think the GRC are the good guys and Carly Morgenthau and the Flag Smashers are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how the media and the commercials are spinning it. But at the same time, we are getting bombarded with things over our heads throughout this episode. Like Carly, you know, when Battlestar goes to New Cap and he says, hey, it seems weird, like they're bringing vaccines and helping displaced people. That doesn't sound like, of course people are going to be supportive of that. Well, who are the bad guys then, right?
It's definitely weird. And then we kind of open up with that scene where New Cap and Cap John Walker, Captain America, and Battlestar are like invading the place that the Flag Smashers were taking refuge, and then they confront the guy. And I was wrong, actually. This is in Munich, and Helmut Zemo was Helmut Zemo was being held in Berlin. So I was wrong.
Still Germany.
Yeah.
So now we have Cap. You made a great point today. Bring it up again. Cap on German soil.
Oh yeah, like isn't it so weird that we're like cheering for the German like people in this compared to in the first Avenger when Cap goes to Germany and we're like, yay America, yay! Yep. Like they're purposefully showing this differential that he's there, he's not wanted.
How long do you think Battlestar is going to continue to side with the New Cap?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Because they're friends, right? So that can get you through a lot of morally gray situations.
Ooh, we can see the anger in Cap is flowing. It's rising like the head on the Guinness Crown float. it's getting higher and higher and higher and spilling over when that guy spits on him. Because you could see John Walker's expression, like, you just spat on the American flag. Do you know who I am?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm important. I'm special, right? I'm the symbol of America. So well done.
Yeah, it was
so
really good.
Utterly contemptible. Jeez.
Yeah, they still have like there's still military bases there, and I mean this
There's
is
still military bases in Japan as well.
Yeah,
so.
I mean quite literally, America is like all over the world, and we talked about that last episode. So
but not in Tunisia. So just so you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving forward. This scene is great. I loved this scene, but I also started to wonder whether it was necessary. I'm like, did we need a Game of Thrones catch up with we Lamar and with Cap?
We basically had 2 scenes with Carly and we had 2 scenes with Cap. And
I think it was 3 scenes with Carly. But either way, it's 3 scenes with Carly.
Yeah. They had scenes, but it was like these like brief little vignettes to where they were, and it was like, I don't know. Compared to what she said last episode, where she was like, and now they're gonna really know where we are. It's like I don't know if these were all that necessary. Like, we could have read an article about it. It's nice to hear her thoughts.
The comparative that's going on, I think what's important here is that we're comparing these other 2 parties.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
We're comparing this character that we're supposed to love and like, New Cap and Battlestar. We don't. And then and then it's compared to a character we're supposed to not like in Flag Smasher.
Yeah.
But that we are starting to sympathize with. And I think that they're holding both of these up to us as like, here are 2 new super soldiers. What are they doing? Oh yes, this one super soldier is over here punching poor shopkeepers to find out information and threatening people. Oh, and the other one over here, at least for the majority of the episode, is sad because a mother figure in her life is passing away from tuberculosis gathered from living in a refugee camp. And she seems sympathetic, and you just can't help but feel for her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, both of them seem kind of fraught.
Yeah. I mean, the lengths that she's willing to go to and stuff.
I don't care. Give me 3 men walking, please.
Yeah.
I don't care. More 3 men walking.
3 men walking down the street. I should have added Zemo into this. I'm going to have to do that next time if he's still around.
I'm bouncing around.
No, I just...
wow. Okay, so moving on.
And then we have the walk into
the prison
to go and speak with Zemo. Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so he uses the words, right? And it's like the ads, seeing how the old words have an effect on the new you. Do you think when he said there's something still in there that he triggered something?
I'm like, I have a question for you. Bucky frees Zemo because that's what Zemo wanted?
Yeah, it seems like that.
Seems like he's, and like the way Sam just folds on that. Like, no, I don't, you're right. No, I shouldn't go see Zemo. But you're not a superhero. Like, you're just a guy with like a specialty wings. I think there are other wing guys out there, aren't there? Like, they're supposed to be.
I mean, the only one that was really flying was Iron Man.
No, I meant the wings, because he was part of a winged group, right?
They all died, though.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, that was in Winter Soldier. All of his battalion died, or whatever. His para-rescue group died.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Were they just not good with the wings? God, I hope that wasn't the case.
I mean, they were experimental, so...
That makes me sad. That makes me super sad. I had no idea that he was the only one left. I mean, if there's a whole battalion, why wouldn't they just train more guys in the use of these wings?
So, it felt really weird and out of character for Bucky to do this. But then also, like, maybe he's just like, I'm desperate and this is what I got to do.
Oh, crap. We only have 6 hours. Let's get through this.
Yeah. It was weird. I kind of hope that we find out that he used something on him. But then again, he also seems to have more free will throughout the episodes. So I don't know.
I kind of hope that they just let it be and be like, you know what? That was a rough a rough bit to get through to get to the fun of the three of them together, because we really want this like enemies to lovers, enemies to enemies lovers, right? Like scenario. These guys like literally hate each other.
But they're very entertaining all together, like sitting in the plane and walking together. So
much fun the three of them have together. I think that they're a great trio.
Yes.
And they made a great duo, just Sam and Buck. But anyway, so yeah, it was really awkward as a scene. Like probably one of the low points in the entire run so far is that scene outside of Zemo's prison, which is like a full glass prison. He's one of the most, like, he is just a normal dude.
It was very Hannibal Lecter.
I know. He was just a normal dude who, granted, he killed probably like 30 to 50 people.
They probably don't want him in Gen Pop though, right?
No.
Like that's
just
what they're
for
saying.
His own safety, they don't want him in Gen Pop.
Yeah.
But instead, it seemed like he had so much. He had a row of books. He had all
he had
of
a
this
carpet.
stuff.
He had a little carpet. Yeah, and he was reading Machiavelli's The Prince.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
I almost did my Gaddism and said, hi.
I mean, yeah, that's like him trying to say, okay, so they're trying to say like, oh, he's actually in control of this situation or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
It doesn't seem like any of the three of them have any control. They're all just kind of walking around with their shoulders back and chest puffed up. Like, if I just pretend to know what I'm doing, like I learned from Cap, then everyone will think I know what I'm doing, and then I'll get away with it, because none of them know what they're doing at any given moment.
I mean, yeah, it's very funny. But then we get the whole like recap like of Zemo escaping the prison.
Not even a recap. We get literally a narrated.
Yeah, it's like narrated escape. And I really liked that moment because it was like, what did you do? It's like, nothing yet. Yeah. It's like, but you did.
I love, because your response when you were watching it was like, wait, is this actually happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so good. I was like, oh, this is happening. I love
this. This is actually happening. Yeah. Yeah.
Although why they would walk Bucky through Gen Pop so he could throw a note in between two guys. Like, what?
Yeah.
Whatever. It was cute. I liked the roll up. It was great. It was in German. It was good.
I liked his narration of the whole thing. Like, let's do this thought experiment that's actually real. Like, I love that add to Bucky's character. Is like, if I may, and then he shows up and he's like, if I may interject into this lovers quarrel that is happening in front of me, and they're like, no. Yeah, that was so good. So good. I love that moment. They still tell him
to shut up too. Like, they tell him to shut up again, and he's like, I think I really could be an invaluable. Yes, of course, I'm going to go with you. Which is weird. Like, why did he show up? Why is he still hanging out with them?
Why didn't he just leave?
Why didn't he just go to his plane?
Unless I don't understand. This is part of his evil plan.
Whatever. Who cares? We need three men walking, and
three men walking. They do spend a lot of time to make sure that we are aware that Baron Zemo has a lot of money. But it's like
and to also call him Baron Zemo from here on out, because at one point, not too far into the episode here, Sam is then talking and then casually refers to him as Baron Zemo. Like, not Zemo anymore. Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
Gotta get your proper title in there.
Yeah.
Which is, so, okay, they're making that bridge from, he is not just Helmut Zero. We want to add that Baron Zemo, which is great because it adds so much lubricant to their between city exchanges. Because remember, in episode 2, I was complaining about the fact that they just willy-nilly fall and fly everywhere they need to go. Suddenly they're in Baltimore. Suddenly they're in Tunisia. Suddenly they're in Munich. And now all of that is easily explained because, Rich guy's with us.
Yes. Yeah. And he's helping us.
Yeah. So they've cleared that up.
Because I hate super soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, that's his reasons. It's just.
I love the fact that he likes cars, though. Because they go to his, like, it's his garage. He pulls out his mask, weird mask, and his coat, also kind of a weird coat. Like, these are weird things to need to collect from that garage, since you're not even taking a vehicle from that garage. Like, they didn't even drive away.
I mean, what else was in that bag? It was like you needed to go to that garage just to pick up that stuff.
Yeah, maybe it was really close to the prison.
Then no, because they're all going to be live action role playing for the next hour. So
apparently, hey,
that's they needed to pick up their costumes to be able to LARP.
Right. So did he wear that mask and that jacket when he operated in Madripoor? Before he was,
maybe that's
his hunting down Hydra secrets.
Maybe that's his thing.
Huh.
I don't know. I mean, we don't really know he only wears it once in the episode.
I know, right? And he puts it on so quick. It's like he takes it in his hand and suddenly it's on and it's perfect. That's not how balaclavas work. They don't go right over your eyes. One too.
It's a structured one because it didn't look like you know.
But he basically went and it's on.
I mean, yeah, he used two hands, but
right. But I have a this in that hand, which they can't see. So, But weird.
Yeah, super weird. But it's fine. They're now on a plane with a very old servant-y person.
Oh, I had one other line, which is why Sam was so comfortable with this. Like, he hardly put up a fight at all. He was probably like, well, I'm already running around with a guy I hate. Why not run around with two guys I hate?
Yeah, like, why not? I did appreciate all of the side talk that happened on the plane, like the reference to say if any food has gone off, go and feed it to them.
Yeah,
and just kind of
pass the smell test.
like tons of stuff to do. If the food's on the plane, it's probably 7 years old, and so it's probably past smell test and petrified now, but that's fine. Yeah, and I really liked all the Trouble Man callbacks to Marvin Gaye and like.
Well, it was the same book. That was neat that he was writing in Steve's old book.
Yeah.
So Sam got the shield. Bucky got the book.
Yeah, got the little book of come up to speed. Hey, old man, you gotta listen to all this cool stuff. But you can also see the attitude difference between Steve and Bucky and I just don't care for Marvin Gaye. Let me alone. Yeah. So there was the mask, which is a shaped mask. That's important. It's not just a balaclava. It's a shaped balaclava. So there's structure behind it.
It's still a balaclava. Only eye holes.
I'm gonna make this big because so Das Nein in der Liebe, which is basically the no in love, or it is translated on one site to how to say no to the one you love. It is a German psychology self-help book that uses, and I do not lie about this, it uses mythological relationships, so between the Greek gods, to explain your relationship woes with your love.
Why is this relevant?
That's the book that is holding the little book with all the names.
Why?
Because he is counseling the two of them in the plane.
Okay. He's counseling the two of them?
Yeah, he literally is engaging them and asking them questions about their relationship with Steve and with each other.
Well, with Steve especially.
To try and get over this stuff. It's fascinating that they're doing this.
It's a weird book.
It was a weird book.
It provokes some questions, but at the same time, it seemed like his line of questioning on the plane was just to get to his grandstanding moment to talk about how, when you put someone up on a pedestal, you don't see their flaws anymore. It's okay, well, guess what? No one's on a pedestal in this show.
No one's on a pedestal. This isn't about icons anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of terrible. Zemo is a fan of What the Force confirmed. That's hilarious.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks, Patricia.
I appreciate that so much. I saw this and I was like, this was put into the show just for me, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
It sure is interesting. I'd like to know. It's a good question to ask. Why is that book there?
Why is that book
there?
What
is it about that book? Because Zemo doesn't seem to be really interested in developing and sure, he didn't take the new place of old therapist, right? He's not new therapist.
No, he's different. He's definitely different, but he's constantly talking to them about their place in the world and coming to terms with the new and all of that.
all while having his own motivations. And they constantly make sure of that. He's a bad guy, but he has a code. So we can trust him as far as his code goes.
Whatever that is.
But he wants no super soldiers in the world and remove any opportunity for super soldiers to be created again in the future.
Yeah.
And he spent all of the Winter Soldier just trying to track down
He also doesn't like superheroes at all. Like, he wants to destroy the Avengers. He's always been very clear about that. In Civil War, the whole point of the Civil War was not to destroy just Steve, but to destroy him and Iron Man and separate out the Avengers and cause them to fight each other. That was the point in Civil War. So I don't know.
The point of Civil War was for him to get those the 5 other super soldiers and wipe them out. And he was just, I think that was also added benefit of taking out Steve.
That was just added benefit. He wanted to destroy the relationship between Iron Man and Steve.
Yeah, he would hope they would kill each other. Or at least one would kill the other. And then he'd be down 50% of all the ones he needed to get rid of.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then we get this really, really interesting scene with Carly that sort of humanizes her a lot. Not that she wasn't already humanized by like caring for others and bringing them medicine and kind of all of that stuff. But like, she wants to see you, and she's this older person, Danya.
Mother Danya.
That's. Well, okay. They call her 2 different names.
But she's Mother Danya. They go by predominantly.
So maybe she was like a community leader within these groups. And
I don't know. But also at the same time, like, how was she connected to them in Madripoor? Because it seemed like Carly and all of the people in the Flag Smashers that have the super soldier serum.
No answers, nothing but questions.
Are from Madripoor.
Yeah. They definitely all seem like they're from Madripoor. Or at least they ended up there at some point. Yeah. Yeah. But really cool moment. So they focus in.
What's with our background? Why is it this purple monkey?
Because that's the purple monkey from the club that they go to.
Is it called the Purple Monkey?
It's called.
But the club, it wasn't a club. It was literally her house. That was the funny thing.
The club in Lowtown that they go to.
Oh, they go to that club in Lowtown.
First, they go to 2 parties in.
Well, they go
Madripoor.
to 2 clubs.
They go to her house, which she has a powder.
And she has a big party in her house.
Yeah, they go to the club and then they go.
That part.
Anyways, okay, so first I want to talk about the symbol that is on, like, Carly is holding something in her hand, or Mother Danya is holding something in her hand, and it's a hamsa, which is a hand symbol that is used in a variety of Mediterranean cultures. It's common from a Jewish perspective. It's used sometimes in Tanzania. The blue one that's kind of like hanging in the window, that's a Tanzanian one. And it's all to do with the right hand being kind of God's power. And depending on what is in the center, it depends on what its meaning is. And if it's up or down, it has different meanings. So down is prosperity, luck, and like bringing like things to people. So kind of that meaning. Up is protection, and especially when there's an eye, it is protection from the evil eye or from evil spirits or bad people, right? So
cool.
That is interesting that we get a hamsa with.
We get the hamsa hand, but not the eye.
No, and the world is in there, and like compared to the Flag Smasher symbol, because it's very similar to the Flag Smasher symbol.
It really is.
That's
what they're showing. Exactly the Flag Smasher symbol.
But the world is like upside down.
Well, it was upside down because it was the other way around.
No. Right? But if you actually look at like the actual picture, the world compared to the world that's in the Flag Smasher symbol.
Be face down.
Yeah,
like it's meant to be.
The hand itself is down, so
yeah, that makes sense because it's going to hang off of whatever it is. It'll be hanging downwards.
They changed the location of the symbol
so it's
compared
like world
to
prosperity for the world.
Prosperity for the world, whereas the Flag Smasher symbol is like protection from the evils of the world. If you were to say that, like if you were to draw those conclusions, like what is the show?
It's really, I mean, their iconography is spot on here.
Yeah.
It's really, really well done. Taking another symbol and bridging it into the symbol we already have. And then they definitely have given us that hamsa hand because the lines on the fingers are clearly different than they are in the hand that's used in that augmented reality game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why are you doing that particular symbol? There's a lot of like divine will behind it, and it's used differently in different cultures, of course. But because they've kind of made it their own, I just wanted to draw attention to that.
What's great is that it gives roots to the Flag Smashers.
Yeah, potentially.
Beyond what we've seen already.
Seems
it gives
older.
Greater context and texture than what we got before. Much in the same way that they used a whole bunch of different types of fabric in WandaVision to give us that depth. They're giving it to us here with little subtle things that you really have to pay close attention to in this symbology.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Madripoor.
Yeah, it's so great. We're driving to go play disc golf yesterday. We've seen the show. And Marie Claire says to me, is that a real place?
I'm like,
and
I don't know.
It is not.
It is not. Place. This is a made-up Marvel place.
It is.
I didn't know that, so I had to do a whole bunch of research.
Oh, you did? What research did you come up with? Do you have any good Madripoorian research? I have a tiny little bit because all of my experience with Madripoor is directly related to the comics I collected.
Yeah, it was definitely a Marvel created, exactly how they describe it in the show. You're not missing anything by not listening to the show. Just to know that there has been a lot of comic history that has happened there. I found a map. It is south of Singapore.
It's really supposed to be like a mock-up.
It's basically Singapore. Yeah, they kind of made it Singapore. Like
really, really, really rich people. Really, 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 really poor people. Like Madripoor, we're Madripoor. Really Madripoor. Because there's a lot of really poor people there. And different stories are told in Hightown than they are in Lowtown. And to be honest, the current X-Men books that are coming out right now are Madripoor is a central focus of all of the books. The entire X-titled universe has a lot of Madripoor related material that's going on right now and has been for the last 2 years of the new X titles, which is great to read, and I recommend jumping into them. Madripoor was created in 1985 by Chris Claremont and another gentleman. It debuted in New Mutants, I want to say number 52.
And it is highly connected with mutants, right?
And there's been so many stories that are connected to Madripoor through that X line of things in X Factor, New Mutants, and Wolverine. Those characters have all had lengthy Madripoor connected storylines. And I think it was a way to show a different place, a unique locale with great skylines that are not similar, and they're alien and foreign.
Oh my God. They created a pretty virtual city, and they were able to show the Hightown and Lowtown differential like they did in the comics, so well. I'm obsessed with this place. I know. I want them to go back in the MCU.
Yes.
All the time.
Absolutely. They have to. They're making this a big thing.
It's beautiful.
Also, just to point out, it is literally like they took Night City from the new Cyberpunk video game and dropped it into the MCU because it felt like I was in the video game. I've played that game for 140 hours since it came out, and I'll tell you, the bikes that were there, the vehicles that they're driving around in, the bars, the backdrop of the city skyline. This is all right out of Night City in the new Cyberpunk game.
And I just want to point out, you don't build skyscrapers like that without some sort of rule of law, even if it's evil and dictatorial. That exists.
Right. Money is the key motivating factor of all things.
Yes.
Capitalism rules in Madripoor. There are no laws otherwise. And what's key and important about Madripoor?
they have laws. They have registration for their vehicles.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
I think the symbol is on the vehicle, so they have to register. That's the thing. There's going to be laws in a place like that, even though it's lawless. It's probably low law, or it feels like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get behind that. My thought on that though is that they might not actually need to have those license plates, but that's our own brains trying to add to the car to put the license plate on it. because they're not thinking about the metatextual element of the license plate of the vehicle. They just put the license plate on and we're like, oh, when we put the license plate on, let's put the Madripoor symbol on it.
Oh, you mean like the production designers were like, oh, let's put a
They weren't thinking about the motivation for why a license plate is even there and why there wouldn't be a need for one in a place like Madripoor.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually like, we could go off on this, but Madripoor, and I love this quote, which is actually a quote that is delivered in the Marvel comics. I smell it even over the stench of the sewers. I'd know that smell anywhere. Smells like danger, smells like life, smells like Madripoor. So that is a quote from Patch, a character, aka also known as Wolverine.
Wolverine with an eye patch.
With an eye patch, yeah.
Wolverine with an eye patch.
But they talk about the smell. What is that smell? And it's like, oh,
that's acid?
That's what is that, acid? So they are directly calling back to the comics to say, yes, this is the same place.
Exactly.
Everyone, they called out the smell. Like that's a very common like thing. So I did so much research on Madripoor. Like I was like, what is this place? I'm obsessed with it now.
Yeah, a lot of writers have encountered it and discovered it and been reinvigorated with how to what happens when you put our characters in there. Mm-hmm. The Mutant Liberation Front.
Oh yeah, there's connections to that.
Is that what it's called, chat? Mutant Liberation Front? Are they really the MILFs? Is that or am I getting that wrong? Am I doing this like the Judean People's Front, the front of People's Judea? Is it MLF? Really?
I think it's MLF, yeah.
Wow. I should really change that to MILFs now because it's so funny.
Mutants in Liberation Front.
Anyway, the MLF, it has a big part to play in Madripoor. The leader, the ruler of Madripoor is Tiger with like a Y and then an I, Tiger, like a T-Wiger and T-Iger, which is so strange. And then I bring this up because Smiling Tiger is an associate to
Tiger, Burning Bright.
Yeah.
We'll just say that for now.
In Madripoor only at night, unless you're amongst a bunch of container ship containers, and then it can be in the daytime.
Yes, then it can be in the daytime after partying all night.
Hey, it is Mutant Liberation Front. Thanks, Ian. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Conrad Mack, aka the Smiling Tiger. I pulled a version of the comic Smiling Tiger.
Yeah, that's the one you're gonna get. He is so weird, not like so weird. He's a weird character.
It's like Anthony Mackie.
For sure.
They were like, Anthony Mackie, who could he pretend to be? Yeah. Oh, Conrad Mack sounds like a lot like him. Let's look at this. But like, look at, is that actually Anthony Mackie with a little bit more facial hair that they managed to pull in for Conrad Mack? Like,
I don't know.
It looks a lot like him, and he even says like, "Wow, this guy looks a lot like me."
Like he didn't have to shave his goatee, which I think is the most important part of that.
Yeah.
You'll get to keep your goatee, so this is a character you'll get to play.
He's got like
a Black
the
American,
chains.
and he has a goatee. Done.
And he's got like the chains too, which is like so cool. And then they have that whole discussion about style and like, oh my god! All
right, so Smiling Tiger was created in 1993.
Ooh, history.
He's not that old. I mean, in 2 years he'll be 30, but you can definitely tell he's a character of the times because he's just all cool, interesting design, but no depth whatsoever. Like weirdest character. I can see why this character
like
has not made it into the modern day.
They took like Wolverine and then like used like a sketch of Wolverine and then changed him up a little bit.
Kind of like added a bit of gargoyle to him.
Yeah.
And it's just so, he's not even a tiger at all, really. And where's the smile? Where's that smile?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, all that to be said, they took an established character that was really weird and put some interesting stuff in there for Sam to masquerade as.
Yeah. I hope they actually turn him into like an actual like character eventually that we actually get to interact with, and it's actually played by Anthony Mackie as his like alter ego.
I love it. Anthony Mackie as Smiling Tiger.
Smiling
And then he
Tiger.
has an interaction with himself.
Yeah.
And that would be great to see in like episode 4 or 5,
Yeah.
where Smiling Tiger comes in and it is Anthony Mackie in
Just
another
like
role.
a little bit more facial hair, so it's kind of like that evil twin scenario. And then
They said you look like me. You don't look anything like me. What are you talking about?
He has to, like change his voice and become like over the top. Like, yeah.
That's a great idea. I love that. That's great. It's gonna stay in my head.
Our headcanon, and then they enter into Lowtown. I like the aesthetic of Hightown versus Lowtown.
We just also like they walk halfway across the bridge.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, the walk.
Like what?
The
Why
walk,
are they walking halfway across a bridge to a car that's parked in the middle of a bridge? I know this is Madripoor and things are weird here, but that should just...
Well, like, so where did they land? Where's the airport? And why did they walk from the airport? And why couldn't the car pick them up at the airport versus walking into the city in their new outfits?
Yeah.
They just wanted to
Where
see
did they get the outfits from?
They wanted to see 3 men walking.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And I love the costume.
They
for
drove
Anthony
closer to Lowtown, and then they wanted to see 3 men walking again.
Yes.
So,
yeah, it's weird. I did like the motorcycles that came up around them and kind of created like a convoy. Are they going to get attacked? Are they here for protection?
And you saw the guns, like they did the flash of like all the like the very like scary part about being in a kind of a country that maybe has less laws and gun control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant idea I was reading Patricia's comment about your having Anthony Mackie play Anthony Mackie, the Smiling Tiger. I think that's brilliant, or Conrad Mack. I think that's brilliant, but at the same time, like, they're really doing a lot of work to do 3 things. 1, establish dynamic between these 3 characters.
Yes.
2, establish the tone, which is like, we're like not really quite superheroes in a James Bond-esque espionage, stealthy spy thing. And then 3, and that is the order of importance, plot.
Yeah, plot is least important.
Like, plot has so little importance to this show. Like, please stop caring about it so much, Kyle. We obviously aren't, and you shouldn't either. This is a show about these 2 buddies learning to become best buddies and have an adventure together. Can you not just be along for the ride like you would in a Bond movie? Okay, I will.
Yeah. These things don't need to matter as much.
Yeah.
It tells us. I did love the graffiti on the wall. Power Broker is watching, and it has the 2 sets of eyes, very creepily, and then the 3rd set that's actually like dripping blood.
Yeah.
Oh.
Really well done.
Yeah, and then we passed the Princess Bar, which
also it's
plays
in the
heavily...
same texture as like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's white with the preposition in black.
Yeah. Yeah. They passed the Princess Bar, which plays heavily in the Patch comics with Wolverine with an eye patch. So there's a lot of like Easter eggs kind of in this.
So many Easter eggs.
This setup.
Well, I mean,
not really.
Yeah, this is just texture.
It's texture. It's saying this is a real place, and we're planning on making it a real place, and this is cool.
Yeah.
I want more stories here. I want a whole Madripoor like show.
All right, let's keep pushing forward, because the best character is yet to come.
Okay.
And that is the bartender. No.
Yeah, I mean, the bartender was really
so
awesome.
Cool.
And he's like, Smiling Tiger, I didn't know you were back. Your usual? And he's like,
Why do they keep testing Smiling Tiger? Like, everyone is testing Smiling Tiger the entire time.
But he looks exactly like him. How would they know?
Exactly. He's here with Zemo and Winter Soldier.
That's
like, why
weird.
do we need to question that all of this is legit?
Yeah, it was
like,
weird.
It made no sense.
But like, so he takes out the snake, and he's like, okay, what part of the snake is that?
I thought it was a couple of organs. I was like, is it the
like,
ovaries of that snake? Is it like, was it the venom sacs?
I don't know. And then
what do you think? What do you think, chat?
Snakes.
I want to know what they think.
But then like Anthony Mackie literally closes his eyes like that. I pretend I do not see.
Yum.
Delicious.
I think the line was actually,
God, I love it so much. It's so good. It's like what, like yeah, and like the fact that he eats like fresh snake shot.
No, I think it was like formaldehyde or not formaldehyde, but pickled snake.
Pickled
snake part.
Like how much was that shot? That was like $100 shot.
Oh, at least, hey?
Right?
At
Who
least.
paid for that shot?
That no one did. I also liked. I wanted to know what Baron Zemo's shot was because it was like a light blue color and it was really neat looking. And he seemed happy.
We should have done snake
down
shots.
The hatch.
Hey, we didn't do snake shots.
No, but I mean a crown float today.
Fine.
So I had this in the plan for a while now.
Okay, fine. I like it. Well, they went to a bar too, which is like the second time they've gone to a bar in 3 episodes. So we were on brand by doing it this way. Pretend I do not see.
Yeah.
So good.
Thought it was hilarious, but it was weird.
Yeah.
That it's suddenly like, so, okay, they're going to test, Winter Soldier. Because power, like, I'm guessing I got motivation there because, like, Power Broker doesn't really want you here. So let's test Winter Soldier and Zemo. Zemo's supposed to be on bars anyway. Let's just beat him up and then drag him before Power Broker and be done with it. Maybe we'll get some money. I got that.
Yeah.
It made sense. The questioning of Smiling Tiger, I mean, like your usual, I maybe they're just like, the bartender was a little like leery, like, I don't want to piss this guy off. Mm-hmm. But then that thumbs up was probably like a real tell. Like, I don't know if he would do that.
Yeah.
So, and also they never said anything about how Smiling Tiger acts at all.
No,
just
nothing.
This is what you wear.
This is
We're
what
done.
Yeah. And he kept on being like,
a fashion-forward Black American should be allowed to dress however he wants and not be considered to be like a gigolo. Or
everyone's trying to figure out what it is as well. Okay, so if we were to have a snake shot, it would be like a gummy worm or a gummy snake or something in this shot. Cause
snake shots.
Because I don't harm animals. So
no, I mean there's definitely different alcohols that are called that. So
yeah,
we could easily find a snake bite.
Oh yeah,
no, you don't want a snake bite. It's really spicy.
Oh, would it kill me? It's just a shot. I'm okay. Yes,
it's
I'm
like
a wuss.
hot pepper infused vodka.
Okay, no, I probably can't have
and cinnamon schnapps or something like that. It's ridiculous and it's not good. And it's called lots of different things.
We're sticking with a crown float today.
Yeah. Anyway, so
well, then we get the whole like the guy who's like Baron Zemo's like, oh, of course this guy's gonna try and pick a fight with me, and then he goes, Winter Soldier, go, Bucky, go, and Bucky immediately goes into Winter Soldier mode, which was very hot.
Oh, see, I didn't like this scene, and we talked about this before. You did. I just thought it wasn't as well cut, and it was really dark.
It was very dark, but we were trying to watch it upstairs with like the sun glaring into the window.
I mean, even when I watched it otherwise, because I've seen that scene 4 times now. Really? You're fanning yourself over and again for this fight
he was
scene?
hot. He was hot in this scene.
Oh, because you like your men expressionless and punching people. Huh.
I don't know why I'm with you then.
True.
You don't have lack of expression. It was a very sexy scene.
Huh. I hated it because it felt gratuitous. It didn't feel motivated. And I didn't understand why suddenly like 6 or 7 people are deciding to fight the Winter Soldier when they came in and they were like, the Winter Soldier, the Winter Soldier, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Except if he's actually being controlled somehow.
But it didn't matter if he was there at all. He is a super soldier. You don't want to mess with the Winter Soldier.
I mean, it was just to prove something.
It's like you don't mess with the Zotan.
Everyone's like hot. Everyone's hot. You're
yes,
wrong.
That's perfect. It's fine. It can be hot. I just said it doesn't make any sense. It was gratuitous.
It was fine.
I think that the word hot and gratuitous go hand in hand.
We all wish he still had long hair.
Really?
Yes. I like your hair.
You don't like my hair though.
No, I like your hair.
No, but
it's getting to the length. It was weird for a little while when it was like basically a Karen bob, but now it's getting better.
Okay, cool. Right. Okay. Well, this was fun. Let's move on from the hot fight.
I really like the well done show. And we get Selby. And so the song that is playing is La Petite Homme, which is a song about an old man, like a really old man, who enters into a relationship with a young woman that makes him feel like a young woman. And then at one point, she leaves him and abandons the apartment that he has kept her in, and ends up, he feels very sad about it. That's the song that is playing as three men walk into Selby's place. I loved Selby. Selby is also associated with the Mutant Liberation Front. In the comics.
I love it. We'll just go back a second because Allison said it's a great bar story. I fought the Winter Soldier. It's like, yeah, and that's why I live in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. I fought the Winter Soldier. Dumb idea for a bar fight. But Amanda followed up with, this actually has relevancy because I think it's going to get back to the United States, because Amanda says that people were filming it and that has to be relevant. I also think it's just a comment on the fact that people film anything these days and everything. Like, oh, something's happening, camera comes out.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely going to come out that people are paying attention to this. And yeah, I mean, they're going to be on the run from John Walker, Captain America, and the rest of everybody too.
Yep.
It's like,
also be careful, chat. If you throw up foul, bad words that are not normally even considered bad words in the normal context of life, they will come up as being flagged for review, and we'll have to then take a moment to, make those good again.
Just FYI.
Just FYI. Try to couch your delightful comments in non-vulgarity.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, and if you do swear, you have to do 20 push-ups. That's a rule.
That's a rule in the Gould house.
Yep.
So
there should be a rule in your house too. Make those swear words worth your money and sweat.
Yeah.
Well, not money.
There are better words, but if you really want to use that word, you got to do 20 push-ups.
And nobody uses those words in this show. They've been very good so far.
They say shit a lot.
They just say shit a lot.
They say shit a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Anthony Mackie especially.
Yeah.
Okay, let's meet Selby.
Selby is like, they have this like moment, like, oh, I'm happy I didn't kill you, and yeah, let's talk about this offer. And he's like,
like this character so much.
They killed her right away.
I was so offended. But also, like, I really liked the beginning, and then as soon as the phone rang, it got weird.
Yeah. But
it got so weird.
I do want to point out this moment, where Zemo's like, he touches Bucky's chin.
Yes.
And he's like,
and he warbles it.
And he'll do anything you want. He is trying to sell him like a male prostitute. That is what is happening.
Yes, he's a male prostitute.
He'll do anything you want, Selby. What is this show? Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. Fell off camera. You really like the Winter Soldier, hey?
Oh, I've always liked the Winter Soldier.
Give me those control words, please and thank you.
I used to read a lot of fic about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Oh, really? Huh. Okay. Good to know. Why? You have the offer of a controlled Winter Soldier viewed already in the bar.
The weird cell phone moments?
And then the phone rings.
Yeah,
and everything takes a twisted turn just because Smiling Tiger Conrad Mack is being called Sam by someone on a phone. Like, maybe he's got a lady on the sly, and maybe he likes her to call him Sam. Why does that suddenly provoke an immediate, everything is
turn
wrong?
It on speakerphone. It's like, why?
Put it on speaker. Like, it got real. Like, I love the fact that Sarah got reintroduced and there's a moment with Sarah and there's tension associated with it, but it seemed weird. Zemo has definitely seemed like he's got Smiling Tiger in his employ. And now you're going to make this employee answer a phone call? Nobody
does that. Like, nobody does
weird.
that.
I understood that they're like, Smiling Tiger is taller. You're a little taller than I expected you to be because he's wearing lifts, okay?
No, you're shorter than I thought you'd be.
Was it shorter?
Shorter, yeah.
Anyway,
so they'd have to put him in like platforms if he played Anthony Mackie versus Anthony Mackie.
Okay, so I'm puzzled as to why this scene suddenly provokes this level of animosity that results in Selby's death. It doesn't seem well motivated. Like so many things in this TV show don't seem well motivated.
I mean, it was weird. This was just a way to kill Selby, and
I love how Sarah doesn't even balk it. They're like, I killed him. She's like, whatever, big time. Like, that bank killed him. Like, she's obviously not really paying attention, right? She's got other things on the docket, but she doesn't even get to fully talk about what she really was calling about.
Yeah, no, and she was distracted, like distracted mom, like, clean up these Cheerios. Like, yeah.
And why is his phone on vibrate?
Like, why? I mean, why was it on like ringtone rather than vibrate? Because it was just vibrating.
It was a vibrate.
Oh, was it a I mean, but it could have been a text, like, or why didn't he put it on Do Not Disturb? Yeah. I don't know.
He has like a super vibrate phone. Also, does it get even cellular service in Madripoor?
I mean, that was weird.
What is the charge it's going to be for taking that call?
Oh my God, that was like $12.
Yeah, that's a $12 call you just took. And actually, probably just by having his phone on in the first place.
Oh no, he was getting data and roaming. Yeah. You would think
Who pays for that?
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a job. He has pending contracts with the government. He's
a contractor, so he pays for it. It's part of his own self-run business, his sole proprietorship.
I mean, I don't. It's probably like Jesse's like Madripoor has great phone signal. Of course they do. They're like high town, low town. It probably has tons of great phone signal. They're taking films on the thing, but
his cell phone
his cell phone plan is in America. He probably has a global.
He has Verizon. You know, Can you hear me now?
Yeah, or he has some sort of GRC plan, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, he doesn't work for the GRC.
No, he doesn't, but maybe he's got a good plan because they're global.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Right? He's concerned about his global plan.
We've spent too much time on this already.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Yes, okay.
So now Selby gets shot.
Yeah, Selby gets shot and and there was
the chest.
So there was somebody suspiciously dressed like an Avenger in disguise in the bar.
Avenger in disguise?
Yeah, so they were wearing a jacket with a hoodie.
Oh, yeah,
and sunglasses.
Jacket and a hoodie. Oh,
and they turn around before you can kind of really see them in the bar.
In the bar.
And then Selby gets shot in this moment, right?
Like through another window, elsewhere in the bar, or in another room, or
elsewhere.
Outside. Either way, they have a beat on Selby. Things get heated, and they shoot Selby.
Yeah, and then they all grab the weapons from the people in the room.
Yeah.
And then Zemo says the weirdest freaking thing.
Ooh, what did he say?
Leave your weapons here.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Like, leave your weapons here. Why? Why do we need to leave the gun? Well, it won't look as suspicious if you have the semi-automatics belonging to the bodyguards of Selby when we leave.
Yeah.
Okay, but Selby dies, and moments later, the text goes out. Literally, they're still walking through the bar when the text goes out.
Yeah. So whoever killed her sent the text.
Yeah, I'm going to guess. Whoever killed her would have had to send the text.
Okay, so whoever killed her sent the text, and then they're like running away. Zemo's like, I'm going to go down this alleyway. Ha ha. And the guys are like, I can't run in heels. I love that line. And then they get surrounded by people. And then
Do you think that line was possibly ad-libbed?
I hope
so.
Or
was it a written line?
I really hope it was just Anthony Mackie, like in heels.
I can't run in heels.
I can't run in these heels.
I love it.
And then somebody with a high-powered rifle without a sniper feeling to it or whatever shoots two people that are trying to attack Falcon and Bucky. Yep. So Sam and Bucky.
Could it be the same person?
Oh, and
how?
It's totally
how can it be the same person?
It's totally Sharon.
How can it be the same person?
But it was Sharon. It was blonde with the hood on.
Yes,
and then,
I agree.
And then she appears on the street with a different weapon.
I agree. No, I feel like they're the Sharons then, if this is the case.
There's Sharons.
Because how could that person be there with the rifle and shoot Selby?
Okay.
And then be somewhere else further down. Like, they were literally running and saves the day.
So did Sharon shoot Selby? That's our question.
I want to say that the show is telling us yes.
That
Sharon
is what the
shot
show,
Selby.
Yes.
But according to, laws of time and movement and place,
Sharon has become a superhero.
It is not possible for Sharon to have shot Selby and then to also be in position, not even really knowing where those two guys were going to run to be up above and shoot down at those other people. Like,
yeah,
so
it's
weird.
This is really rough. Like,
So
this
that's
part
why
of this
the
episode.
concept of the Sharons comes into play, because then suddenly, immediately after those two people die, the bodies are just barely cooling on the pavement. Sharon walks up from the other direction with a handgun.
Yeah, and then says, "This explains why Selby is dead." How did you know?
Well,
I guess
they got the text, right? The assumption of the text is that Sharon would have gotten it as well.
No, you totally killed her. I really think
No.
like the show is trying to say that she did it all. Like it's bad. It's not a good execution of that.
Yeah.
But that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
Is that she was responsible for all of this.
Yes, the Sharons were responsible for.
Yes.
She was literally the gunman on behind the fence and the gunman on the grassy knoll.
Yes, and the gunman in the grassy knoll. She was both.
Both.
Yes.
Potentially all three. And the driver of the limousine as well, apparently.
I mean, yes, people are pointing out Sharon has employees or people that she works with.
Right,
so.
exactly. But they kept showing us the same jacket and hoodie with blonde hair.
Yeah, so they didn't show us who shot Selby. Who shot Selby? But it doesn't really matter to us. We don't care.
Yes. So is it a good time now? People have started to die.
Oh, yes. Do you want to do death count?
Is it a good time now to start doing death count? Death count, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're unfortunately, we are here to present to you the unfortunate fact that 15 people died today.
Oh my gosh.
16 people
Compared
died today.
to the one episode where like nobody died, we were
16 deaths have occurred. Would you like to take a gamble on who killed the most people?
It was definitely Sharon Carter.
It was Sharon Carter, but not by much.
Okay.
Yes.
Who killed the second most people? Was it Zemo?
Carly Morgenthau killed 5 people.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that's what really bumped the number count up. We'll get there right at the end. But there are 5 people bound and gagged, and those people do not make it out. And, and there may have been even more in that building, but we only see the 5. Zemo killed 4 people.
That seems like him, yeah.
3 people in his amazing like blast. Suddenly he's down amongst them. Like how are these people getting off these buildings? I don't understand.
Parkour.
TV. Apparently, like great knees. Great knees. Okay, so he shoots the pipe, blows it up, and then he runs down and he kills one person with the pipe, and then he kills another 2. So, and plus he kills the other guy, which is a total of 4. And Sharon herself kills 7 people. 7 die at Sharon's hand, and that is not including Selby.
If we were to, I mean, Sam would be the villain in the first episode. Sharon is the villain in this episode. If we were just going by
body count.
Death count, yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Death Count, episode 3.
Thank you. On to the next. So she's like, I've got a place in Hightown. You've got a place in Hightown?
Huh.
Weird.
What are you doing in Lowtown? The same bar. Zemo and the other 2 are there.
That's weird.
She's definitely got a lot of control and power.
Yeah, I really love this moment where it's like, and the Monets are in places like this, and then Sam like Googles it, and then he's like, wait a second, this is right, like
this is real. This is a thing that's true.
This is a thing that's true about the world. Yeah, and so that is set up in a way to say not everything is as it appears in your reality, right? So Sharon is not who she appears to be. That is what they're trying to say.
Everyone in this episode is essentially pretending to be somebody else.
Yes.
Except for John Walker, he's an asshole and he's not pretending to be otherwise.
No. And Sam, who's like, yes, not really pretending to be who he is.
But like even Carly Morgenthau's like, I wanted to be a teacher. And she's like, you just killed all those people. And she's like, it was a teachable moment.
No. And I mean, Bucky could potentially be pretending as well, right? Because of control things. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I love this scene so much. This dance party at the thing. So they go in.
No. First, I want to talk about the one moment where
so he's Anthony Mackie.
He's in the like smiling tiger outfit, and then he takes it off, and he's shirtless, and she's like, much better. I love that moment because it's like, I agree, Sharon. Thank you for saying my words out loud. Thank you. And then they have this like moment, and I love when Bucky's like, when did you become like awful? Like,
it's true. He's seeing the corruption of her character. The degradation that she's had to go through by America saying you're not good enough. You did this thing that even though it worked out in the time and it saved a lot of people and it stopped these things from happening, you know, you don't get any forgiveness or redemption.
who just happens to have a party with like, I don't know, 400 people or 200 people in it.
It wasn't even a party. It was her art sale.
Yeah.
It was literally like an auction art sale.
And like, but weird with dancing and stuff. And
it was a massive dance party, and everybody had these iPads, and they could scroll through and bid on the
things,
stuff.
but like also
Brilliant
hang out and get drunk. I mean, it's really cool. But shout out to my boy Helmut Zemo for being the most awkward dancer and amazing like awkward person at a party who just like he dances to his own tune.
Yep.
We love him.
And then I love this Amanda's line, and then he put on Vision's turtleneck. That's good.
I
That's
absolutely
so good.
loved that we got awkward dancing Zemo that people have been putting other music to, including Agatha all along. The kids were like, "Why are you listening to Agatha all along?" I'm like,
"Oh, really?
No, yeah, I just love this. I loved every moment where we flashed to them. Bucky bobbing along to the music, Sam trying to fit in. Like they were all super awkward. It was three men walking, but separately awkwardly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, the coloration in Madripoor and a lot of the color in this episode has been very purple. And we like to comment on the color of the lens being either orange or teal.
Yeah,
in
there's
a lot
mix
of TV shows,
there's a mix of blue,
thing.
Red, and purple, which is commonly known as bisexual lighting. No, I mean, sure. No, it's literally a thing, but
they're just taking it.
They're just taking it.
Taking purple lighting. Remember, Helmut Zemo's coloration
is purple.
His mask is purple.
Oh yeah,
right?
I know,
So they're also like you directly just related it to WandaVision because Agatha's color and power is purple.
Yeah,
and so they're showing us purple's kind of the bad guy. Madripoor is kind of full of bad guys, and so purple is that color, that lens we'll see things through that might have. I'm just contexturing. It's just conjecture here to say that this purple
you hate
stuff.
Conjecture.
Well, I think that just we're relating that purple is Zemo's color, Madripoor's color, Agatha's color. It's not hard to conjecture beyond that. They're saying bad guys are operating here.
Yes, but also I don't. Zemo being sus, Sharon being sus really makes me confused. So, but yeah, they have this whole thing, and then Sharon like comes up at some point. She's like, "I have information. I know where he is," and then they leave. It's still nighttime. Presumably, it's an all-night party auction, and she's like, "Let's go." I guess the auction can be run without her. Mm-hmm. Because they go to
the auction's over, right? She doesn't care. I mean, it's an online auction as well. Everybody was doing it on pads. She didn't need to be there for the sale. She's got people.
She does have people.
Yeah. And suddenly it's daytime.
Like not just like dawn, like daytime. I was like, this was a long party. And then they comment on like how cool of a party. They have not slept.
No. There's been no sleeping. They were at the party, and it wasn't that cool for Winter Soldier and Sam because they were so awkward throughout the whole party.
And they were like on a plane, and like Zemo was like constantly talking to them about their relationships with Steve previously. Yep. And then they show up in Madripoor and they hang out for a little bit at night. They don't sleep, and then they're like doing this thing. Like they're very tired boys.
Yeah, Germany to Singapore is not a short flight. Not a short flight. Especially the whole time with Zemo nattering on probably about his book. Oh, I was just reading in the book I'm actually reading how did he get the book from Bucky?
I don't know.
Moving on.
That's an interesting question.
Let's go to the container.
How did he get the book from Bucky?
Yep.
The container, and they all put in their little like earpieces because they're in a mission. And they've decided, okay, 3 dudes go and investigate Nerd. And Sharon goes and plays watchdog / super spy outside. Weird. Mm-hmm. But we get introduced to I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry, but Dr. Wilfred Nagel, who does the best Jesse
Ollie Huskeevy?
Yeah. yes. Who does the best Jesse Eisenberg impression from The Social Network I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Just Jesse Eisenberg and everything.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He's so Jesse Eisenberg. Like,
I hated him so much.
Yeah,
he's so arrogant, so condescending.
We find out all about his backstory. Like, he was working on the super soldier serum, probably from Isaiah, who, like the blood from Isaiah that we already knew about. So they're definitely tying those plot points together. Plot? What? There's actually plot? What?
Yeah, well, we just need to extrapolate because the super soldier serum is really important.
Yes. And he has made 20 vials. We've only seen 8 super soldiers, one of who has died recently. So we're down to 7. And potentially there is more out there.
Yep.
And she took them all. Carly took them all. And also she was really worried about, she contacted the guy she stole from to save the person that she cared about.
Did Sharon say, I know where he is, or let's go now?
She said, I know where he is. Yeah.
So maybe they were like, okay, good, we're done with this party because we're just staying up to find out this information. Then they went to bed and then they got up in the morning, had a nice, healthy, big breakfast, and then they went.
I think they said, let's go, too.
Okay, then yeah.
Yeah. I was like, how long of a drive it is to the shipping yard. Oh my God.
And then Sharon doesn't go in. Why doesn't Sharon go in?
She's in murder mode. Well, I think it's because Dr. Wilfred Nagel
knows who she is
when would have recognized her. And this comes to my point later on, the total sus scene with Zemo, but that's fine.
You haven't told me about this, so I'm excited to get this bit of
I told
stuff
you
out of
about it.
I don't think so.
Anyways, shout out to Sharon for being amazing. And we like paused on moments to be like, is this her or her stunt double? And it's like they do these all in one shots that are like, I think that's her doing these things, like the one with the leg and like the flip over and then the slam against. And suddenly you see that it's actually the actress who I cannot remember the name of it right now, but holy hell.
It was really well done.
These fight scenes, and it was super interesting and awesome. And yeah, she's in full murder mode basically this whole time.
She was great. I don't think she initially wasn't in murder mode. She takes her baton, her awesome baton, and beats those guys.
Yeah, like knocks them out or whatever. And then she starts to murder them.
Refuse to be knocked out and start escalating. She doesn't start killing people. Kind of. She does stab that one guy in the chest with the knife and he just kind of lays there. So I don't know.
He bleeds out.
Yeah. But then the other guy pulls out his semi-automatic and goes da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? Which is a dance move. Just so you know, it's called the da-da-da-da-da-da dance move. So there's that happens. And when that happens, she escalates to full-on murder. She's just like, oh, yeah, okay, there's no stopping me, guys.
I guess we're murdering.
Blat, you're dead. Just offing randos in a container.
They're all just after the bounty, right? So yeah.
Which she said.
So yes, I think So this is so weird. So they're like trying to get information out of Nagel.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon like rushes in. She's like, I think she had actually like literally killed all the bounty hunters, so they were probably safe for a while. But she comes in to like hurry them up, and then she's like, "Oh, we're running out of time here." Nagel like looks at her with this like weird look, and then Zemo immediately kills him. It is so weird. Yeah. Why is it so weird?
I didn't see the weirdness of it because it was like she was the distraction that Zemo needed. He'd gotten the gun from underneath Nagel's like weird. I keep a gun under a. It's magic report. It makes perfect sense. So he's got Nagel's gun and he shoots Nagel with Nagel's gun.
Okay. Yes, he took the gun from Nagel, but still, like why he just didn't want any more super soldier serum? I guess that's the motivation we're supposed to read.
He kills Nagel because Nagel knows how to make it. Nagel can just make more super soldier serum.
And after he finds out that there's no more in the lab, then he's like,
as soon as he finds out it's done, he kills Nagel.
It just seems so weird when
his motivation is truly he's following his code. His code is eliminate the potentiality of future super soldier serum from ever coming out.
I mean, it's just so weird. Yeah. I can't even. And even Bucky's like, don't do that. And Sam's like, you're going back to jail.
Yeah, but there's not even time to talk about it because bazooka goes off.
Bazooka goes off.
What?
What? I guess she didn't get everybody.
And it was a cool explosion.
It was weird.
No one even ends up hurt. So why do it?
I don't know. I mean, wouldn't
Seems like a waste of
so
money.
like so the power...
I think if I was producing this, I'd have been like, why are we spending $70,000 if no one is getting hurt?
You talked me down from the weirdness of that moment. Thank you.
Oh, you're right though. The fact that you think Nagel and Sharon know each other and that's why Sharon doesn't go in there initially, that's interesting. I think that's really apropos because I kept wondering, why is Sharon hanging around outside? Like, no one should know they're there.
Yeah, like if she went in, no one would know that they were there.
Yeah.
And they would be like, oh, it's really quiet on the Western Front or whatever.
Also, they're like, the killers of Selby are out, but it was just a text, get the killers. It doesn't have their pictures or anything. So how do we know who these people are that killed Selby? I mean, why do we even care? Oh, I guess it's weird B symbol for money, 10K. Whatever that means. Maybe that's lots. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's weird.
But again, plot, we don't really need to question.
Does Sharon I don't think that she's expecting the place to explode when she goes in there. I think she was expecting to grab Nagel out there.
Well, yeah, I don't think she's expecting an explosion.
I just there's so much stuff that I'm like question mark. It's fine. Whatever. Let's go on to the next
same amount of question marks I had when Zemo's like running by and he goes, oh, and then he gets like, yay, supercharged.
Wait a second. What cartoon moment?
He's like, hold up. Wait a minute. It's a supercharged. Like, we already knew he liked cars.
Yes,
it's true.
Yes, but then he puts on his cool mask in one go.
Oh, it was Bitcoin. Thank you. I didn't know what that symbol was.
10K Bitcoin.
10,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's currently trading at $35,000 a Bitcoin in the United States. So 1,000 Bitcoin is $3.5 million.
Yeah. So that was $35,000?
No.
$35 million? Is that what you're saying?
It was
10K.
Was it 10K or 1K?
10K Bitcoin. We're trying to figure out math. Sorry. It was Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Zemo's mask is very cool.
I'm just going to open up my phone and go look at the
You're going to go look at the Bitcoin
calculator and do this.
Why do you know how much Bitcoin is worth right now?
Oh, because I always know how much Bitcoin is worth now because it's connected to Dogecoin.
Oh,
and so and I have 25,000 Dogecoin, and if it hits $1, I've got $25,000 of Dogecoin.
That's true.
So $35,000 for a Bitcoin, and even if we add 3 zeros, that's $35 million. If
to kill them,
1,000. That's just 1,000.
So Bitcoin. It was like $350 million.
No, $35 million.
35 million?
Yeah, $35 million to find Selby's killer.
Kill Selby's killer.
Yeah.
Killers. So it's
$35 million?
Obviously there was a package with their photos in it. Obviously. So they know that.
It did say 1K. That's 1K Bitcoin.
No, it said 10K. It said
I think it's 1K.
It said 10K.
10K is $350 million.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just a poor understanding of Bitcoin. That's terrible. No, what? No, come on.
I mean, yeah.
Or 10K in Bitcoin?
10K in Bitcoin? 10K Bitcoin, yeah.
10K in Bitcoin would, like, maybe that would be, but they didn't. Somebody did some really bad work of that text. Because it's either $350 million to just kill the people who killed Selby, which is like,
why?
What? And like, how do you even know they killed Selby? And two,
they're gonna blame it on us.
If it wasn't meant to be that much money, then they really should have done some better research. Thank you for letting me know it was Bitcoin, though. That solved that currency problem. I thought it was like a Madripoor specific currency, and I was like, Madripoor currency, maybe 10,000 is a lot of money. Or
I mean, it's obviously the power broker.
Wow.
So if that's how much money that Sharon has, and she's the power broker,
I mean, she has Monets and Van Goghs.
I know.
Like originals in an auction.
She's a hustler,
and her apartment was gorgeous. It was big enough to be a club for people to have a dance party and like its own bar.
I know. It's like that time that your parents bought you a karaoke machine.
So when Sam's like, I'll get your name cleared, she'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah, she really doesn't care. Except for the fact that she wants to see her dad. That seemed real.
Like, but her dad won't even talk to her.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with being able to see her dad. It's that her dad won't because she's not viewed as a patriot. Now I want the Sharon Carter story for the last 5 years.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Like,
that's cooler.
Is this like the Better Call Saul of the MCU?
Breaking Sharon.
Yeah, in many ways, right? Because we see, like, I want to know how she go. Gosh, she's so rich.
Yeah,
she's
so rich.
So wealthy. She's so like, oh. All right, moving on. All right, we get to see Zemo in a mask.
Zemo mask.
Why even bother?
And he just pulls out his gun and like shoots a pipe. Like, how did you know what was in that pipe?
Because he's Zemo and he's very smart.
It's fine. Yeah, and then he finds the car. And the car moment with the moment where they replicate the thing with the backseat.
So good.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. We don't need to spend so much time on that. But then we find out that Sharon has friends.
Or at least a big problem.
Actually a couple of them.
A couple of them.
Yeah.
That's referring to like
Zemo.
No, I think it's referring to Sam and Bucky.
Sam and Bucky, yeah.
Sam and Bucky are a problem.
Yeah. And Zemo is working for her.
Really?
I think so.
That's a big twist.
I would love it.
He may have contact with the power broker, but he doesn't know who power broker is. So a lot of people have been talking in chat about who is power broker. Mm-hmm. This episode is called Power Broker. We are never, ever introduced to the named person of power broker. But I will point out several things. Sharon Carter is shown regularly in this episode to broker power. She does not seem or appear initially to people to have power, but that's not what a power broker does. A power broker like a broker doesn't have any money of their own typically. They actually manage other people's money. They broker deals,
yeah, it's
right?
Like a real estate broker.
You know, the real estate broker doesn't have the real estate. They just enable the smooth transition of real estate or stocks, or in this instance, power. And what is she doing? She's selling original art to other people while the masses continue to go to the Louvre and believe that the Monets and the Van Goghs there are all real. Okay, so she is one behind the scenes and she's brokering power and brokering things between people. I think that she's the power broker.
I mean, that's what the show is telling us. It's at least laying it on very thick that she has more about her than, and that she has reasons for being embittered towards sort of the morally right way to do things.
Yep. And as the grandchild of Steve, right? Literally.
That makes Civil War so much more awkward.
It so does. But also at the same time, like, not?
No, she's Aunt Peggy. They're not related.
Right. They're not related. Aunt Peggy.
No, that was her uncle by marriage.
Yeah, great uncle.
Great uncle by marriage. Yeah, still awkward,
but not
less so.
But not like it was coached as potential romantic entanglement, but it was never really romantically.
I mean, they never really went there. She just
was like, maybe she also kind of wanted to get to know him better because he's a great uncle, and she never got to, or she was in on the joke.
I'm just talking about the kiss.
They kiss?
Yeah, in Civil War. They kiss when she brings the shield and the wings back to them. And it's very awkward. Everyone comments on how awkward it is.
It would be very awkward.
Yeah.
Especially if you already knew he was your great uncle. Oh! You don't know that yet, do you?
I always had a crush on you.
Huh.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've seen that.
And I gloss over a lot of those like MCU romance moments.
I mean, they don't really exist until WandaVision, so
yeah. So I think that she's Power Broker. I think we're getting introduced to her as Power Broker. We got entitled like Star Spangled Man, and then we were introduced to John Walker. We're Power Broker. We're introduced to Sharon Carter, right? Mm-hmm. Especially since Zemo is like, I am not the power broker. I've been in jail for 6+ years, right? Mm-hmm. So what's important to note is that these people were not... people who are involved in the blip are more complicated and have things that have happened to them that have changed them. And the people who went through the blip are kind of failing to recognize that.
Yeah, that is a common theme in this show. that there are nothing can be the same, and it's a struggle for everybody involved, which is really fascinating.
Absolutely.
It's a weird way to deal with the blip, but I'm kind of liking that, even though it's very awkward.
Yep. It's tangential to the blip, right? It's like, let's deal with the people, not the thing.
Yeah.
Although we're going to hit on it, because I don't doubt the GRC is going to have a massive play in what's to come.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the GRC has anything to do with the super soldier serum. Like, I had expected that they would have, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Oh, they removed the kiss from Sharon's scene in Disney Plus's.
Oh, that's why I don't remember it.
Because you watched the thing. We watched them back in like January and December. We watched the whole MCU.
There was no kiss then.
No, there was a kiss then. Trust me. Yes, it's in this. It's in the movie, but they didn't do it in the like recap like Legends episode. They removed it from that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They should have just removed it from the thing.
And then we have this cute, very cute and wonderful conversation about like, what did you think you were going to be? Well, I thought I was going to be a teacher. And they have this like really wonderful conversation. And the actor who plays, I forget his name, who plays her like compatriot, was tweeting about his experiences within the MCU and really loving Captain America and getting to hold the shield from John Walker's in Prague, because they like were filming some of their stuff in Prague. And yeah, he had a really cool tweet thread, so go check it out if you have an opportunity. But then she goes and kills people. Like, ouch. There was a really interesting article where she went in to compare her character in this to Enfys Nest from, of course, Solo. Just the, experience of being a rebel and part of a rebellion. And she definitely sees the parallels between the characters. But it's obvious that she's reaching a desperation point. And she's willing to do extreme things.
Seems like she's been doing extreme things for a while now.
Yes.
And that she's just, some of the guys are not, or they haven't been privy to those elements.
I mean, stealing the power, like the super soldier serum in general, like that's a very dangerous thing that she did. So
stealing the remaining vials of the super soldier serum?
20.
I also loved Dr. Nagel gets a point where he's like explaining the super soldier serum, and he's like, yeah, mine's much better. I am a god. I have refined it. I have made it more, I think I wrote some of these lines down. Did I? I have optimized it. And that is literally and solely to explain why Carly Morgenthau is tiny little Kellyman and not a giant Gru 2-foot beef star.
Yeah.
Because
that you can be subtle and still have
you will be a super
powers.
soldier. You'll have super strength and supercharged powers, but you will just look like normal you because he's optimized it.
Yes.
I think that was solely said, not as filler, but to explain why Carly Morgenthau and the other super soldiers don't look like super soldiers.
Yeah. And then we get the like weird, like they show up at the prison and they're like, wait a second. We are now off the grid. Like they decide to become another faction. Like, thanks guys. I
already knew they were operating on their own.
I know. Like, so the Captain John Walker America. New Cap and Battlestar decide to go off on their own. New Coke. Oh yeah, which didn't sell very well.
No one. Don't mess with the original.
Yeah, John Walker is the New Coke.
New Coke.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah, let's go off the grid, and to your point, like, how long will Battlestar go along with him? We don't know. And then we get to see the beads, the Kyoya beads, from Wakanda, and I was like, Wakanda.
That's what she did.
I loved it so much.
She changed the Beyonce meme.
This is Tiffany, yeah.
Wakanda.
That was me reacting.
We brought it up. They had brought it up literally at the top of the episode. You freed Zemo. Don't you think Wakanda's gonna have anything to say about that?
Well, they did.
So funny. And so they do.
Yeah, and so like this actress, she has one of the best lines in Civil War. So like approaching T'Challa is of course Nat, and she's like, I just need to speak with you about something, and she's like, move or you will be moved. It is such a good line, and she's so intimidating. So like she's been there like since Civil War, and she's also like in Black Panther and as part of the honor guard, so she's been around. Like, and people are like, "Oh, is this other character?" No. She's her own character, and she's been around. She was there when T'Chaka died, etc. So awesome stuff. But let's talk briefly about all of the factions.
Okay, it's faction time,
all
right?
So I made a faction slide. It is terrible, so I apologize. But let's talk about factions. So we have the U.S. military.
9 factions now?
I mean, yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm counting Madripoor as its own thing. Not necessarily connected, but
I would have definitely tied a link between, like, you got Sam and Bucky to the U.S. military, but then I would also maybe have tied U.S. military to Captain John Walker and Battlestar. Like, I think what's important
I can add to it.
U.S. military is not really a faction.
No,
in this. We have not seen anyone from the U.S. military with a viewpoint.
Exactly. I
guess we got Garrett's.
Yeah, well, Torres is his like contact, right?
Yeah.
So U.S. military is there, but like they're only there as much as like Sam is being paid contracts to work as the Falcon. Fine. Yeah. John Walker is being paid by the GRC to do his thing and is under like that reporting structure, but seems to have a fair amount of autonomy. So he is his separate thing. Yeah. We have the Flag Smashers that are directly going against the GRC. The GRC has told Captain John Walker, New Coke, Captain America to go after the Flag Smashers. So that's how that's working. The Power Broker wants to probably kill the Flag Smashers for stealing the...
right, so the GRC wants to reset everything to the way it was before.
The Flag Smashers.
And the Flag Smashers want things to stay as it was. So they are really, I think you would have put them on either side of each other because they're really the two that are like focused on
I can
punching each other in the face.
I just wanted to write them all down.
Great.
And then we have Power Broker and Sharon Carter, which seems sus and super connected, even though we don't have any direct evidence of it. It's all just like... circumstantial.
Power Broker is upset with Flag Smashers because Flag Smashers took the super soldier serum. So there's a conflict there between Power Broker and Flag Smashers. How Power Broker feels about all of the other things that are going on in this,
we don't know. Other than power over Madripoor,
exactly.
Right? And Madripoor also, Sharon seems to have a fair amount of power over Madripoor. The Flag Smashers are from Madripoor, so that's all how they're all connected.
Yeah.
Helmet Zero and Sharon Carter seem to like have some sort of thing going on, but like we don't really know what that is yet.
If anything.
At least it's like mutual hate, right? Or mutual like whatever. But then also,
or like we are both the two introduced characters into this episode.
Exactly. Yeah, that could have been it. And then of course, we have Wakanda, who has entered the chat with Helmet Zero.
Yeah. So what's important, I think, is to note Sharon Carter, she may only care if she is Power Broker, then she cares about the super soldier serum because it was hers and she wants it back. Furthermore, Helmut Zemo, he is up against the Flag Smashers because he wants to destroy those super soldiers and remove and eliminate the remaining serum that they may have,
unless
it can't be recreated.
Like a common theme, people have changed over the 5 years because he did point out that he remembers all of his incarceration, which means that he did not get blipped.
Right, he didn't get blipped.
Right, so people seem to change over the course of the 5-year period of the blip. So unless he has changed, that's all.
He still killed Nagel.
I understand what you're saying. Okay. I'm just saying that's a potential thing.
Yeah.
Because they've thematically said that through this whole thing is that people change. So. People change over the course of the blip.
Helmut Zemo, the good guy, would be very interesting to see. But I just don't think it's possible after he shot Nagel. There's so much more work that would need to be done to repair that.
I don't know. I still don't know what they're doing with this show.
But in any like good action adventure thriller, you have to work with the bad guy in order to achieve the greater good.
Yeah.
So that's happening. So under the context, if we look through this TV show entirely of the lens of like action adventure, Bond, noir, whodunit, exploration sort of show, It's filling all of those niches really clearly, really cleanly. It's making you feel like you're in an action adventure espionage show.
Yeah, it definitely feels a lot like Captain America Winter Soldier from a thematic perspective.
Yeah. Is it as good as it could be in exploring that? I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it is also in the MCU, and that has its own lens that everything is filmed through, and it is hard for us to wear both of those pairs of glasses at the same time because they have different expectations of us. And I think that might be part of what my problem is with the plot and the pacing of the show, because it seems really weird at times because it's trying to fulfill both of those needs.
Yeah. Jesse had a great point, which is that, eventually Zemo in the comics creates the Thunderbolts, and he collects superpowered people as opposed to trying to destroy them.
Yeah.
And that would be an interesting way that they would go with this, that he would switch to say, actually, I want my own team of super villains instead of super heroes, or using them against the people, So
totally against that. I think that if anything, we may see Zemo go to everyone should have the super soldier serum.
Really?
I mean, like, that's his goal, right? But if it's out there and you can't stop it, you give it to everybody. Universal basic income of super soldier serum.
All right. Any last thoughts on this episode? I felt like, although I loved this episode, it had some weird, you end up falling down these rabbit holes if you're like, okay, where is this going? What is this doing? What does this mean? And that's hard because it's all just a construction of the universe itself. That the universe creates these problems when you start to think about them too much. Unless there's a solid answer at the end, it's a little hard to deal with, or it's just part of the mystery. And if it gets answered by the end, that's great. I just feel like it struggles a little bit in this thing. 3 Men Walking, though.
Yeah, I think it was shot beautifully. Great music. And I mean, how are you not going to get great music when you've got Malcolm Spellman and his run on Empire? You're going to have great music. That is a major piece with which he pulls shows through from. It's written really well from a perspective of getting us to the point where we are now. And hopefully we're at that point, right? Mm-hmm. Now we can start to see the climactic element of this story moving forward. We can actually see the conflict starting to shape.
Because there's so many factions.
There's so many moving pieces and individuals involved in this. I really let's get us to the point. Everyone's together that needs to be together. I was like, why'd you bring in Sharon Carter if you're just going to have them walk away from her?
Yeah. And is she, I mean,
so obviously she has a bigger role to play.
So she's power broker, and she'll come back
if they're going to reduce
as the climax of the show to say they introduced the bad guy, but you didn't know it was the bad guy, and now she's going to come back.
And when Legends came out, they dropped 2 episodes at the same time, Sharon Carter and Zemo.
Yeah.
So if Zemo's working with the group, I wonder if they going to twist it. Zemo's working with the group only to inevitably work against the group. Sharon Carter is working kind of at arm's length from the group only to be working with or against the group. And whatever.
Zemo and Sharon are working together and are now secretly dating.
Interesting.
No,
it's awkward for both of them.
I know. I'm just kidding. I just kind of want her to be evil just because I think it would be really refreshing and really cool.
I don't want her to be evil, but I want her to have
self-interest?
Authority.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want her to have power as the power broker, and I want her to have authority.
It would be interesting if power broker wasn't actually it was actually more like an economic hitman situation where she was part of the U.S. government set to create an evil city that kept all the bad people in. Anyways, that's just. Have you ever read the book Economic Hitman? You should. Anyways, I don't know where my brain went. Sorry.
Yeah, you went down a dark hole there.
Yeah.
I'm excited. That's all I have to say. 3 episodes left. We're halfway through. We've met all the characters and the central players. If you introduce another character to me, if they introduce another character in episode 4, I am going to be chagrined.
You're gonna be like, I'm going to have a talking to you.
I will have the downward mouth face and feel like I've eaten a lemon because you've introduced enough. There are enough characters involved here that we have more than enough to see their dynamic change in the next 3 episodes.
Yes.
And
yes.
the character who are you most interested in seeing change and develop in the next 3 episodes?
Change and develop. I don't really know what I want out of this show. I just want more Bucky and Sam like working through their stuff, because that's the most interesting aspect of this show, even with Zemo in the room being like weird counselor dude with his self-help book. I just want more of them, 3 men walking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like my joke line is I want to see Butler Oleg. I want to see his development.
Can we count him as another faction, or is he just part of Zemo?
Old man on a plane.
Old man on a plane.
But in truth, I want to see what happens with Battlestar Lamar Hoskins.
Yeah, that would be cool. Especially if he went against John Walker, that would be really cool. Yeah.
I don't even need to see that so much, but I do want to see him develop, because he's so cool. He's so interesting. He's super powered too, and he speaks German. He's so much more thoughtful and intelligent than John Walker is as Cap, that I'm interested to see where that character develops and goes to over the next 3 episodes, because he has been the most engaging new thing I've seen on the screen.
We got asked by Amanda to comment on the Black Widow trailer. Did you watch it?
I've not seen the Black Widow trailer. I've seen the other
new
ones.
Yeah, I watched the new one.
Yeah. Okay.
Taskmaster is one of my favorite villains. I am unbelievably excited for Taskmaster. I didn't realize he was going to be in the movie for some reason until I went to the Disney store like a month back, and I saw that there was a Taskmaster like toy, and I died. I was so excited. I'm unbelievably excited for Taskmaster. He's so cool. Also, like, I always struggle with Nat, because depending on the director/writer, she ends up taking on like very, very different feel. The biggest identifiable difference is how much her hair changes to be either sensible or sexy.
Why can't it be both?
I mean, yeah, it's just, or how her costume changes. It's like the director and creative's vision of her has to be either sexy or sensible. There's no middle ground for her. I have struggled with her interpretation in the MCU just because of that. I'm looking forward to Florence Plow, who looks like her little sister, I guess. I don't really know any. Plow.
P-U-G-H.
Plow. I think it's Plow.
I don't think there's a "la" in there. It's Pugh.
Pugh?
Yeah.
Florence Pugh?
P-U-G-H.
Okay.
Either way, what I like about it is that it's a topic that is interesting to the Black Widow stories, which is family. And also not a storyline we've gotten much in the MCU. They haven't done a lot of the tugging at family in the MCU.
No, there isn't really a lot of family, except they tried with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Ego and like all of that, but that was all just like...
Yeah, that was very different.
Very different, yeah.
Father-son, absentee father sort of relationship. But this is like, relationship with direct family, like familial, like father, mother, sisters.
Yeah.
That is going to be an interesting exploration. The only thing we've got...
Pew.
Yeah, P-U-G-H. The only thing that we've gotten that from so far is Thor, Loki, and Odin. And Hela. We've seen some of that, but it's like we're all gods. So I'm interested to see that,
Freya?
Who? Frigga?
Frigga. Yeah. Tired.
Yes. What's important to that is that it's like, this is, a common family, not royalty. We're not dealing with all this other stuff. Common family, Russian farmhouse, I raised my daughters right sort of thing. It's interesting. Yeah. And I'm excited for that.
I just don't like what is the point? I hate to ask that of an MCU movie. What is the point of this story? Is it to introduce Florence Pugh as a character for the MCU so that she can kind of take over the mantle of Black Widow in the future storytelling that they will eventually have, to replace like the current Natasha storyline, because people are getting older Scarlett Johansson's getting older, and they're not going to do any more Black Widow stories. So what is the point of this story in going back to the past? Like, what is the point? That's all my question.
My answer to that, and what I would have told Kevin Feige, is you set her up as an integral core character. When you show us the picture of the Avengers, and they are the 5 Avengers, we've gotten Black Widow in so many different television shows, in so many different movies. Feels like a television show. So many different movies. We do not have any sense of who she is and how she would act in her own led movie. And she is a canon character that deserves to have a titled movie.
Yes,
That's the only reason why I think you'd even need to make one.
But inevitably, the story is never done with one movie,
right?
And so, what is the point to say this movie, and what is it leading into? And I think that they're going to use Florence Pugh in the future.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, people will want to go and see this movie because it has Scarlett Johansson in it, because it is Black Widow.
I mean, yeah,
because it's
going to be a standalone movie.
She's had some great stories over the years of the comics as well, that it'd be great to see some of that come into play. And that's, I think, more than enough reason, other than to have some sort of conjectural point for what movie comes next. Because why not just do that next movie? Why not just do that? If that's what you want, you don't need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on something that you're needing to spend hundreds of millions of dollars
just
in the
do
future
that.
on.
They never just do the story. They never just do that. So
they don't, because they're establishing canon.
Yeah. No, I know. So that's my point. That's my question, is like, what is the story going to say for us and the future? Because it's always future focused, no matter what.
Well, yeah, okay, I understand that, but that's always the second question that's asked.
I don't know if that's
they do
the
not
case.
ask that question first.
I
They're
don't
like,
know.
we need Florence. We need a new Black Widow. Let's do an old Black Widow.
No, that's not. That's not. Like, what does this say about the future of storytelling is always the question that they ask. They don't just ask the question of what does this mean for the character at this time? Because honestly, like, even though we've always wanted a Black Widow storyline, she is dead. Like, that is the truth. So it doesn't mean anything for Black Widow, but it could mean something for the MCU at large. And that's all I'm trying to say.
I think you should be allowed to explore characters that are gone and have them be a central figure in a predecessor story.
They just haven't done that before.
Well,
so that's all I'm trying to say, is that this is very new for them to explore and go in that particular direction.
Yeah, and I hope that we get to see some of that. I'm really excited to find out what the themes are in this Black Widow story, because Black Widow's stories have largely been espionage oriented, but her personal relationships and her personal dynamic has always been the draw of that character. And I'm interested and excited to see how she fares as the focal point and where the lens is focused upon. Because she hasn't. She's been in the background.
Unfortunately, they're just going to use it as a goodbye to Nat, in my opinion. I don't think, like, it's going to be a story about her and it's going to be important and telling all that stuff, but it's going to be a hello, goodbye, like, type scenario. And like, that, to me, I don't...
Do you think that that'll take prominence over the movie itself? Like, I mean, goodbye to Nat will be the main theme and main focus of the story?
It's going to go back to the beginning to tell us her origin story so that we're able to say goodbye to her.
We've kind of seen some of her origin story as well. I really don't need to see a Black Widow origin story.
It's going to be a Black Widow origin story. They're going to go back to the beginning to tell us all about her history, and it'll be done in flashbacks and all sorts of stuff. Why do you keep saying
that like it's an affirmed thing that's totally the case?
I just think that that's how they're going to go about it. That's all.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited about it just because it's different.
Yes, it is different. I think it could be super successful because, like, to me, the prequels for Star Wars were super successful to tell us a different perspective of Anakin Skywalker. I just don't know, honestly, what to expect. Because I'm like, what is, like, for the MCU, they're always future story focused,
they're
right?
very good at that. They're very good at making sure that what they're telling has multiple layers going on, and that they caretake that which is to come. It can't stand on its own.
I'm just thinking of, like, in recent history when they went back to tell an origin story, which this story will end up being, at least partially. It will. They can't not, because they're going to tell there's little girls in the trailer and stuff like that. So they're going to tell.
There was little girls in Avengers 2 though as well. When she went through her memories.
Yes, but that was all just flashes. They're going to go back and tell, like, why this is all important. But they went back for Captain Marvel to show her whole origin story because they wanted to place her as the strongest, most powerful Avenger in the future storytelling, right? So there's a reason why they're telling this story, and I still don't understand what that is, other than to establish Florence as the new version of this character going forward. And I mean, it could be done well. That's my concern. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, Allison says that her frustration is that this movie should have come out a long time ago.
That's my frustration. Yes.
I don't care. You don't spend hundreds of millions of dollars on something without having, especially the MCU seems to be very good at this. They've spent the time and they've spent the money on putting a group of people together to conceive of why is this important? Why do we want to tell this? Who is best to tell it? And how will it change what is to come? And they seem to be very good at answering all of those questions and giving us different themed, different twisted varietals on the same MCU superhero movie that we've been getting since Iron Man in 2007.
I am excited for the non-standard version of whatever this movie ends up being, and also Taskmaster.
Yeah. So I think that it's good, and I'm excited, and I'm glad. I'm hoping that they've had even more time with editing to make it the best vehicle that it could possibly be. I think our concerns are valid, though, given that Disney really shat the bed on their other big blockbuster franchise world history that they had, where they're like, and I even quoted about this because I've been thinking about Black Widow, not as much as you have, obviously, but I was thinking about Tross this week, and I was like, how can you even write anything post Tross? Like, none of the world makes sense anymore, and all of the things that happen in it are counterintuitive to the things that came before it, how that you could possibly write something that comes after. I think MCU and Kevin Feige and the people who are responsible for that do a much better job of shepherding the stories that they are telling, so that they have the ability to add and build upon.
Part of the problem is that Tross feels like it ends in dust, and that's the taste that is left in our mouths. And for people who are fans of Black Widow and Nat, the end is dust. She dies at the end. And so what is the point of telling the story early on, except for some other meaning that we will get out of it? Because we're not going to recontextualize Nat in the course of this. So there's going to be some other reason they're telling this story other than to give us an origin story and the history associated with it. It is to recontextualize her relationship with some other character that will end up becoming important in Phase 4.
Or she's back.
Which, I mean, Kevin Feige has said she's not back, or there is no plans to do any more Black Widow related things. Yeah. So I don't know, and that's
a waste. Comic books are literally, we've talked about this already, that no one is dead, that everyone comes back. And that to have these permadeaths that you seem to have brought in
the actors get old, right? And so they're like, let's move on from
I don't understand. They get old, but they're not old in other ways, right? Like, sure, okay, Chris Evans can't do the theatrics of Captain America, but he could still be Captain America. He just, like, the stories move on. The characters don't need to die as part of that.
Yeah.
How much better is the story if Steve is old but still around and there's New Cap, and New Cap keeps coming to Steve to be like, well, I gotta make a call. Steve, there's a bad guy. He's got a bomb and he's threatening to kill like 23 people. Is 23 a good number? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Why can't you keep that?
Like,
Anyway, it's fine.
I mean,
whatever.
Again, could be completely wonderful movie. These are just my reservations, knowing about how this interconnected story has become more complicated with time. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, it's fine.
Struggle.
Again, it's important because we always ask the question because we know Marvel does as well. I just don't think it's the first question they ask. I think it's the second question that they ask, but they ask it every single time, which is, how does this build on what's to come?
Yeah.
So you can't do that unless you have an answer to that question. You have to answer that question. If you're going to sit down and write a trilogy, you have to know that whatever you're doing in the first book of that trilogy needs to be able to be built upon in the second trilogy. You can't not build your foundation into a tight, sharp pyramid and then not be able to put anything on it.
It's just, it's just writing the Silmarillion before Lord of the Rings. Did anyone really read it? I don't know.
Is it? I mean,
is it relevant?
It's just notes. It's the director's cut.
Yeah, I don't know. I have high hopes for Black Widow. Just because I think it'll explore some really cool things. To me, it's like, I always struggle with the so what when they do sort of stories like that. So what's the important thing that they're trying to say? And like for the prequels in Star Wars, as the example of Anakin died. Well, it was to humanize the villain throughout the course of that. I don't know that Nat needs that. So what are we getting out of this? And I don't know that yet. So
that was already humanized. Like, that sacrifice. You have a family. I don't have anything. You get to live. Bye. And like this, are they even dead? Like I question that. The Soul Stone requires a sacrifice. None of the others did. Is it really a sacrifice? I don't know. To give up that which you love the most. I would love to like sit there and debate on that one at length.
He doesn't really love his wife. That's depressing.
Who doesn't love their wife? Okay.
Clint.
Oh, that he loves Nat more than his wife.
Don't look at too closely. It'll just drive you crazy. Yeah.
It's a different sort of love. It's perfectly acceptable.
I know.
Why do they have to be in competition with each other?
I'm very tired, and this like whole thing has made me go like, what is life?
Well, these are questions that will not be answered in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier because that's not what this is about.
No. Well, if you're interested in checking out the show going forward, of course, make sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube or on your podcast app of choice after this. And of course,
if you're still here, thanks so much for getting through that little 12-minute diatribe on the Black Widow, a commercial I've not even seen.
No.
I've really been trying to avoid as much Black Widow stuff as I can because I want to go into that movie with no expectations.
I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
So
where can people find you, Kyle, if they're looking for you online and what you do?
Well, they're looking for me. You can find me in my house because I haven't left in months, not even to get a haircut, as you can tell. It's been 14 months now since I got my haircut, and it looks more and more like it's going to be another 14 months. For my own personal reasons. And I'm looking forward to having you back next week. But if you're listening and you're longing for more of my voice, check out Tavern Tales. It's a podcast where we play Dungeons and Dragons every single week. One of the people in the chat, Allison Quantes, is one of our stars of the show. And it is ending all too soon with our Shrine of Tamao-chan story that ends at the end of April here, starting at the beginning of May. I am pleased to announce that we are moving on to a new game, a new story from Masks, A New Generation. It is a Magpie produced tabletop RPG where all of my players, Marie Claire included, are playing teenage superheroes.
Yes.
To teenage superhero hijinks. It is not a story about beating up the bad guy in as much as you think it should be. It is a story about teenagers figuring out who they are and who they want to be, and how people's expectations of them change how they themselves see themselves. And I am delighted to say that that's going to run for the preponderance of this coming year. And I hope you check it out.
I love it because it's about exploration of character, which is my jam. And I get to play a character that's all about love and hate. And I love that.
So yeah, check it out. It's wherever podcasts can be found.
Yes. And if you want to follow me, my personal Twitter is Marie C. Gould, or you can follow the show at WT Force Media on Twitter. So thank you, everybody, as always, for hanging out in the chat and being super talkative. It's been so enjoyable to have you all here. And if you're listening after the fact, thank you for sticking with us. And we look forward to the next 3 episodes of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Cool. Let's go eat some snake organs.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye.